how I turned $10,000 into an entertainment studio. So before I get into it, thank you for clicking on this video. If you find that this video gives you any ideas or motivation to get started in your artistic endeavors, then I mean, hey, by all means, you know, this is just the route that I chose, you know, and I know that there are a lot of people out there that have no route to even start. You know, they don't even know where to start. And even though I'm still at the beginning, you know, I still at least started, you know. So thank you for clicking on this video. I have a few points right here that I want to get into, right? So point number one, right? I decided, hold on y'all, this is my bad. I'm about to go on a little trip here today and I forgot to move this out the way before I started recording. All right, so point one, I said the hell with my art. Yeah, to hell with it. For just 1 second. I had to sit down and I had to assess my life, right? On a spiritual, mental, physical, and financial level. You know what I mean? A lot of us tend to, I don't want to say neglect, but a lot of times we look over how our lives are already structured before we get into something that can be life-changing, right? Before we get into something that can take all of our time, effort, energy, resources, right? So it was probably last summer sometime, maybe like around July, a little bit after my birthday, last summer, 2025, when I sat down and I said, you know, let me actually try to commit to something this time, right? Because I had probably 3 or 4, maybe even more than that, times when I tried to do content and instead of just sticking it out, I just tucked my tail under my legs and I ran away, only to come back a couple months to maybe a year and a half later, right? So I was like, you know what, let me actually do it right and stick with it for longer than just a couple months this time. And I was really excited, you know, I was really excited. I'll never forget, I was so excited that I was ready to go out and like get an LLC the same day. I didn't search shit up. I just knew I wanted to do like some type of entertainment studio thing. I wanted to just get the LLC that day. When I brought the idea to my parents kind of brought me back down to earth a little bit. And that's when I had to basically sit back for, I think I sat for maybe like a month. You know, like literally just sat in my room, barely went anywhere. Just assessing my life, you know, like, do I have any debt that I need to pay off? Which was no. Was I in school at the time? No, I had already graduated. Did I have a job at the time? Yes, I worked for, you know, my parents' construction company. I wanted to work for my stuff, you know. I feel so weird receiving stuff that, even though that's my parents, I feel so weird getting stuff, you know, just getting handed stuff. You know what I'm saying? Especially if it's money and I know I didn't particularly do anything for it. It makes me feel weird, you know, and the older I get, the more and more I'm just like, nah, bro, I gotta start. I gotta get my own source of income, bro. I do. I gotta start doing my own thing, man. Like, I love my parents, but I really have to sit down and assess my life. You know, I gotta understand where I'm at right now with things. I mean, like I said, I didn't have no debt, but I mean, I'm doing something that nobody in my life that I personally know is even in the same realm in, you know, even in the same field. You know, I'm not sitting here saying that I'm better than nobody, right? I'm not better than nobody walking this planet. I am not better than nobody looking at this video right now. But I'm doing something that is completely different from anybody that I know, friends, family. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen anybody with a camera and a tripod walking around in my city ever, outside of maybe like a selfie stick taking a selfie with a phone. You know what I'm saying? That was probably the biggest thing, you know. I had to really understand and honestly get comfortable with me being alone in this for the foreseeable future, you know. Like, I mean, I don't really have a lot of people I can say help me along the way outside of just being motivation. You know, I had to learn how to Go out and get film permits. I had to learn how to pick the right illustrators for my comics. You know, I had to learn what makes a design look good on a shirt, what makes a design look trash on a shirt. You know, all of the things that I failed in, right? But were learning experiences. And I had to sit down and I had to, you know, assess all that, you know, and I'm just like, yeah, you know, that's the biggest thing for me. I didn't really have nobody in my corner outside of, you know, outside of people being motivational, always being there for me. I can just come and ramble too. They're not in the field, so they don't particularly know what's going on specifically. It's nobody who I can say is in this and they've gone through it. You know, it's just me right now. So you have to really understand that you need to start somewhere, right? And once you assess your life, if you have debt, you got to make sure you pay that off before you do anything. You know, if you're in school, how is school going to affect what you want to do? If you have a job, how is your job going to affect what you want to do? That's point one. All right. Point two, how I got my funding, right? So I got a sole proprietorship right now, and that's going to eventually turn into a LLC sometime this year. But that also brings its fair share of difficulties, right? And I guess you could say nuances, right? So the 10K is actually a loan I had to personally get, right? My parents helped me, love my parents so much. My parents helped me get that, you know, they helped me do what I needed to do, right? Get my, I was about to say my debt. I don't have debt, but get my credit straight. It helped me get my credit straight. Which was the hardest, I would say, outside of getting the film permits, the hardest thing was getting that damn credit. My damn credit. Like I said, I wasn't in debt, none. I didn't have no debt, but I didn't have credit built up because I never really bought anything crazy. You know what I'm saying? Growing up, I'm an only child, and my parents, you know, they kind of showered my ass, which is crazy. You know, you would think only children, you know, when they're showered, when the only child is just showered with gifts, you know, giving this, giving that, whenever they want it, they didn't even ask for it. Here, take it, please take it, my child. Even when it's like that, when it's like that, you would think like, yeah, he's gonna grow up to be crazy, you know, he's gonna grow up to be dangerous in society, right? No, like I said, I feel weird when my parents just give me free stuff when I don't work for it. No, I can't just be sitting down and just be getting money, you know? I mean, I would love to be sitting down and getting money when I've, you know, made something profitable to get money from, just sitting back on my ass. But, you know, I mean, just my parents just randomly giving me money. No, but they helped me get this loan. They did help me get this loan, which I love them very much for. And my mama is kind of like the overseer of it. You know, it's my loan, but she's basically helping me, you know, kind of structure it in ways, you know, in plans and tiers to where, you know, hey, okay, this is for the comics, this is for the merch, you know, design the merch, POD merch. So, you know, it's not like I got to order bulks and order samples and stuff like that. I mean, I do go to order samples, but I don't got to order bulk orders and stuff like that. And, you know, the whole film stuff, which is just a huge thing, right? But had to get my credit straight to get this loan, you know, man. The first time you get a loan, bro, that I don't know if it's just like it was my anxiety or if I was just had nerves for no reason, but that is some of the most nerve-wracking shit on the planet. I'll never forget, I was sitting in the bank, old girl was across from me, right? Parents was over here, right? She was talking to me because, like I said, it was my loan, but I was just sitting there. I don't know if y'all can see my leg, but I was doing like the little jittery leg thing, you know, bouncing my leg. I wasn't listening to a damn thing she had to say, bro. I was losing my mind. I was absolutely losing my mind. But we ended up getting it. Like I said, my mama is helping me structure it to distribute the right amount of money to where it needs to go. Getting your credit straight, you know, building it up. Because like I said, I keep saying getting it straight. I didn't have effed up credit. I didn't have no credit, basically. All right, so before we get into point number 3, I got a little acronym for y'all that I want to give you that really helped me out, so it might help some of you out too watching this video. Start messy, have a cap, improve later, tell a story. Start messy, have a cap, improve later, tell a story. What does that spell? Yep. Shit. Start messy. You gotta start messy. You have to start messy. I'm sure everybody has heard, if you have wanted to do YouTube and you've looked up, you know, starting YouTube from scratch, how to do YouTube for the very first time, uploading my very first video, I'm sure almost every single video you've heard that has had that narrative, right, has told you to just start. Your first video is going to be trash. Right, your very first video is going to be awful. Now, technically, this isn't my very first time doing YouTube. I've been actually doing content since 2009. Yeah, 2019. But I've left and come back so much. You know, YouTube, they didn't shadow ban me, but they kind of put me in timeout. You know, so only God knows how long it's going to take to build up a decent size engagement following on here, right? But it's my fault. You know, that's my fault. I look at it like this. You have to start somewhere, right? Even though it's really cliche, right? You have to start somewhere. You have to start messy, right? How are you going to start if you don't start messy, right? Because if you don't start messy, you're just going to worry about things that don't even matter when you're starting out, right? Once you start out, excuse me, I had to burp. I got to burp again. Bless me. You have to start out no matter if it's going to look weird, no matter if your mic is going to keep going in and out, no matter if you don't edit the video right and something happens, no matter if you keep rambling on and rambling on and rambling on, like how I tend to do sometimes, you have to start. You have to, right? Have a cap. You have to have a cap. Now, this is kind of more towards people who are doing businesses and, you know, people who might need a little bit of funding, right, to start whatever they're doing. But I guess you could say you can have a cap on, you know, I guess your mental, you know, or time, right? Basically, what I mean by have a cap is don't try to over pursue, right? Understand where you're going to need to stop at when you're first starting out. I knew that a $10,000 loan with the help of somebody who has very established credit, right? With the help of somebody who is known to pay back loans, right? With the help of somebody who was already established and everything, I knew I would be able to get a nice $10,000 loan once I just built up my credit, right? I had to learn this stuff, you know, like I said, the very first day I knew I wanted to do this, I wanted to just straight up get an LLC. Then I probably wouldn't want to go out and try to get 100K. Sit your dumb ass down. You're not getting nothing, right? If it's not really with money. Have a cap on when you know you can stop working for the day. You know, have a cap on your daily routine on with what you have going on. You know, if you know that you have to work, you know, you have to work maybe 8, 9, 10 hours a day. You know, you come home. Don't try to just randomly work on your things. You know, don't try to just randomly work on your goals. You have to really set a nice plan. Yeah, man, have a plan. Have a plan, have a cap, you know, understand your limits starting out, right? Improve later. It's kind of touches on the S in the shit acronym, okay? You gotta improve later. You are not gonna be trash forever if you care. If you care about your craft, you won't be trash forever. It's impossible. It's impossible. It's literally impossible. Now, what's not impossible and what can happen is if you just start not caring. And then you're just like, okay, well, I'm gonna just upload videos. I'm gonna just do it from my phone. Even if you don't try to structurally make your videos different and try to grow as a commentator, right? If you make commentary videos, talking head videos, this, then third, then that can be a problem, right? But if you care about your craft, you will improve, right? You know how to improve, know where you need to improve. That's kind of, you know, a whole different topic. Improve later, right? And T, tell a story. Y'all know how I feel about stories. I'm not going to get preachy about it. I've already done that in videos, and I have more videos to come on me probably getting a little preachy on why stories matter now. But tell a story, man. With whatever you do, log it, right? Log your journey. Log where you're at, where you started off. Compare it to a year later. If you feel like it's something that you don't need to tell people, just keep it for yourself, you know? And if you do have a story to tell people, right, make sure that you put every last single bit of effort and soul into it that you can, right? That's the shit acronym. No, like I said, it sounds dumb, but this is something that really did help me. It's an acronym that really helped me get started. You know, it put in my mind that, man, you don't need to, because I have OCD, right? So you know how people are with OCD. We kind of want stuff to be as close to perfect as possible. Starting out, no, that's not what you need. Nope, you will fail every time. Start messy, have a cap, improve later, tell a story. Shit acronym. Let's get to point 3. Number 3 is how to disassociate your art and what you create from early viewers, man. So I am very, very positive that 99, no, the hell with that. Every last single person who is infamous, who has created something that has lasted, can tell you when they first started out how many no's, how many your fails, how many this is lame, this is stupid, you're whack, I don't like you, burn in hell, I hope you get gonorrhea. All of that. How many hateful things they got from people when you first start out, right? It's so crazy because, when you get to a certain point, people treat you like, I don't want to say you're a god because that's crazy and that's weird, but people treat you so differently when you are established in something compared to when you're first starting out, and I guess it's human psychology, I don't particularly know why. Maybe when we're used and familiar with something, we can relate to it more, and we're more compassionate with it, I guess, bro. I don't know. I guess that's what it is, but it's almost like a superpower you have to get that I'm still learning how to get. I'm not saying I got it right now, right? But you have to learn how to disassociate your art from early viewers, man. It's just noise. Even early on, people praising your work and praising your art can be dangerous to an extent. So just be careful with that, man. I don't know how to explain it. Like I said, I'm still trying to navigate through it myself, but it's a weird feeling, knowing that you worked on something for so long and you put so much time, so much effort. You loved it so much. You loved doing it. And then one of the first things you see in it is how trash it was. For people just starting out, just understand that, man, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough weeding out the noise. It's going to be tough understanding that any type of over glaze to an extent, right? Using TikTok slang, or over hate, if you will. You have to just tune out. You have to tune out, and you just got to keep going, man. You just got to keep going. Like I said, it's a superpower that you really have to build up over time, man. Like I said, I'm building it up slowly. It's getting there, but I mean, man, I would say this, right? I would say this. What I've done now over the past 6 months really just cemented in my mind that I can do things that I didn't think I could do, right? So understanding where hateful comments come from. Okay, hateful comments are going to always be there. I'm doing this for people that want to see something, that want to see something that what I have to offer, and if I think it's good enough, that's all you need. If you think it's good enough, because you're going to be the first person to ever see it, right? You're going to be the first person to know where it's coming from. So if you think it's good enough, if you know it's good enough and it's coming from a place of meaning, then that's all you need, bro. That's all you need. The early hate out, fizzle out. Once you understand that you and your art isn't meant to be judged on a surface level, and people who do judge it on a surface level and then drag you into it, that's just noise, bro. That's noise at the end of the day. That was number 3, right? Number 4, be consistent. Learn how to be consistent, man. I had to really, really understand that the little things is what makes basically anything work. Pretty much, like if you have, it's cliche, but I mean, if you have one pillar, if you have like a huge ass building with dozens and dozens of pillars, if one pillar has a crack in it, it's wraps. It's wraps for real. It's fried. The whole building is fried. I mean, you really have to learn to be consistent with the little things. I mean, the whole thing with like what I'm doing right now. I had to learn how to talk to people on the phone about business. I could talk on the phone, but about BS stuff that was like random, with the homies. hop on the game, talk about random stuff. Just call them up one night when I'm bored. We just talking BS around. I mean, I had to call up City Hall on the phone. The literal president of the planning department has my number. Has my number right now. I would show it to you, but I can't, I can't dox her like that. But she has my number. She deals with the mayor. I didn't think in life I would be dealing with somebody who knows the mayor personally and have her number in my phone. I have a number in my phone now. I can call her up anytime I need a film permit in my city now. I can just call her up, literally. Whenever I want, well, not whenever I want. I never knew that I would be able to conversate with the police department of my city. That's kind of, a whole nother story. I shouldn't have been conversating with them as much as I did. I'm surprised they didn't send nobody out to my house, because I remember I called the Concord police probably like 6 times, swear on everything I know. I called them maybe like 6 times in one day before. I'm surprised they didn't send nobody out to my house. I'm surprised they didn't send nobody to the crib, bro. But I did things, I got props. I found an actress, I conversated with the right people to get things going. I found an illustrator. I'm about to find another one, in the talks of finding another one. I mean, I did the little things that y'all probably won't see. If y'all would like me to go into detail about, a lot of the stuff, then, I'll go into it. But I kind of just wanted this video to be about, the 4 main things, the 4 main pillars of what I had, right? What I had to do. But I never thought I'll be able to do the little things, and the little things actually are what I remember. They are. I mean, I don't remember. I mean, I do remember, going out and filming everything. But I mean, I was kind of just on autopilot then, making sure that everything's working right so we can get this shit out. You know what I'm saying? I remember sitting in Starbucks calling Concord City Hall like so many times. I was in Starbucks because we didn't have no Wi-Fi at the time. The Wi-Fi was out. So many different departments, talking to so many different people. It was insane. It was insane. I never thought in a million years I would have been able to do something like that. And I did it. I did it. For real. And that's all it is to it. I was consistent with it. I learned how to talk on the phone, how to discuss, how to articulate my words on the phone, on what I needed. That was probably the biggest. I would say all of these, I don't want to, compare them and, say this was the biggest one, this one was the biggest. But I say this one was the biggest for me. All of them mattered the same, but this one was the biggest for me, right? I had to be consistent on doing things, especially things I didn't know I could do. You know what I mean? And the little things is what ended up getting me to where I am today, man. If you feel like you can take any one of these 4 points, or maybe all of them, or maybe you love the shit acronym and that's your new favorite acronym of all time. If you feel like any one of those can help you in your life and in what you're trying to build, then hey, man, by all means, do what you got to do with it, man. Hey, I love my creators, man. I love my creators. We're going to stick together for real.